Climate change. How do carbon emissions affect climate change? Humans burn fossil fuels to produce energy, and the fumes combined with oxygen creates carbon dioxide. Normally, heat from the sun can reach the earth, and the heat from the earth can be expelled with carbon dioxide. This heat causes our glaciers to melt, causing the sea level to rise, which will end up in flooding, loss of habitats, and landslides. How does population affect the climate change? Everyone causes carbon emissions. With more people, there is an excessive amount of carbon emissions. As the population grows and more energy required, so there are more greenhouse gases. Whoosh! How do children affect the climate? Each baby in the U.S. adds about 9,441 metric tons of carbon dioxide to their parents' carbon legacy. Children in the U.S. produce 7 times the carbon emissions of kids in China and 169 times in kids in Bangladesh. The U.S. produced double the greenhouse gases emitted by Europe and 10 times of the developing nations. Our country trying to lower greenhouse gases? Yes, and the state of Oregon reduced its carbon emissions per person by 5%. However, its population increased by 8%. So while many places are lowering carbon emissions per person, the place as a whole increases in carbon emissions because of the population rise. Transportation is responsible for 1/3 of the U.S. carbon emissions. That's because we travel 3 trillion miles every year, and 1/2 of the U.S. population lives in car-dependent suburbs. Residential areas are responsible for 1/5 of carbon emissions in the U.S. People are also moving to bigger houses that requires more energy, resulting in a larger carbon footprint. Also, as the population rises and as more countries go through the demographic transition model, suburbs sprawl, resulting in deforestation. We need these trees to reduce our carbon emissions. As the chart shows, carbon emissions in many countries, especially the U.S., are expected to rise. This is because of new technology and because of the increasing population. As the population rises, the global heating occurs. In conclusion, as the population rises, the climate is affected by the overload of carbon dioxide and creates the greenhouse gases as we deplete our natural resources, like the trees, that would normally take the CO2 from the atmosphere. We result in a major change in our climate. With carbon dioxide, heat from the sun can reach the earth, but the carbon dioxide locks in or traps the heat, similar to a greenhouse gas.